Okay, so for my introduction, I interviewed Caitlin and got to learn about her. So she's from Santa Barbara, so kind of that area, and she's a freshman poli-sci major, but she's not crazy interested in poli-sci, so she's kind of using that to get into nonprofit, because that was something she found out she was very interested in when she was in high school. She did a event at her church. She kind of thought she was just getting into the nonprofit side of it, but then realized she like accidentally signed up to do a half marathon. So she kind of had to do that too. But she still likes to do nonprofit even after the whole half marathon mix up. So she also is very athletic. She grew up playing sports, and also, like I mentioned, she did a half marathon at church, so she's very Christian too. So that's something she's also interested in. Can I say your embarrassing story?
Sorry.
Okay. So the question is mine. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's funny. And it's not that embarrassing. So basically, one of the questions she asked me first what my embarrassing story was, then I asked her to learn about it. So when she was like way back in elementary school, she claimed she never learned geography, which I believe. So then in high school, she was invited to go to like this leadership conference, and like there are all these smart kids here, just like Caitlin, very smart. And they got into groups to do like this activity thing together where they had to like make little activities or games or something, and one group did Jeopardy. So she participated in Jeopardy. And there were geography questions, which seems interesting. She never learned geography in elementary school. So basically, she went up to answer a question, and the question was how many continents there were in the world. And she couldn't think of it, so she sat there and just pondered for a little bit and did not come up with the right answer, 7, which was awkward because there was all these studs, like these leadership studs that probably knew there were 7 continents realistically. So that was interesting, and some girls are mean and didn't call her the nicest things after she couldn't answer that there were 7 continents, but we moved, now she knows there's 7, she'll never forget. Also going back to her nonprofit stuff, that's something she also got interested in because of her grandparents. Her grandparents have always been like into nonprofit stuff, and she's been inspired by them, so she's looking to get into that. And her weird but positive experience with church is also kind of getting into that. And also, good news is that she is recovered from a 3-year leg break in high school. So she had a 3-year recovery, just didn't heal right. So we're okay, right? The leg. So that's good. But kind of to close off, I introduced Caitlin as someone who's like a poli-sci major from Santa Barbara and a freshman. But after talking to her, I learned that she wasn't just a poli-sci major from Santa Barbara who was a freshman. So it's really fun to talk to people and get to know them beyond the surface level stuff. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know, to be honest. I don't really have anything to compare it to, like based off what other people did since I wasn't here.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you missed the guy who dropped his girlfriend because she didn't know how to eat fish story. Yeah, you missed some good stuff. That was really good. And some other interesting stories. You can go on YouTube, though, and watch them.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so you can watch the whole thing if you want to. All right. First of all, for your introduction, don't say for my introduction. That is definitely not a hook. You could start off with, well, let's just start off with the continent question. How many continents are there? See how many people would know. And by the way, what did you answer when they asked you that?
I didn't say. I'm not really sure.
Okay, well, at least you didn't say something like 45, something like that. Okay, and that's probably the best answer to give in that kind of situation. Yeah, start off with something, again, that grabs us. I think the question about the continents will be perfect because you're going to run into that one in just a little bit. Make sure you have her permission before you get up here and say, can I tell that story? It's always good because she might say no, and then you're kind of stuck. And it's like, okay, crap, where do I go now for the next 45 seconds? Make sure you've got permission to do all that. In the conclusion, first time I've heard somebody say to close off, but that works. It tells us you're starting the conclusion, so that's okay. Pretty decent wrap up. but it just dies then. There's really no twist or anything. So really want you to work on the introduction and conclusion next time, as far as the first thing you say, the last thing you say. The posture is interesting. You said you're going to move around. The only thing you moved was your left foot swinging in front of your right foot. I don't know what that was about. That was interesting. But yeah, move a little bit, just a little bit. Don't clasp your hands in front of you. You're starting to do that at the very beginning, holding your hands in front of you. You work that out as you got a little more comfortable as you talk. So that's good. And make sure that you don't wear shorts on the day that you're doing a talk. Interview apparel is always best, but it's not on here. That's just, again, a suggestion because that will come up later on. Overall, though, you gave us some really good information about her and some. By the way, that leg brace, what was that about? Did you break your leg? Or?
Yeah, I broke my leg playing soccer. The goalie landed on it and it hyperextended. And then they braced it too wrong. They braced it too long, so it healed wrong. And then my kneecap died, so they ended up having to do surgery 3 years after.
Your kneecap died?
Yeah, like some of the bones.
Regenerate it?
Yeah.
And wow.
Someone told me after I broke it that they weren't sure if I could ever walk again. I'd definitely not be able to play sports. And now, like, in high school, I played 4 sports.
Yeah. Wow. But everything's okay now?
Yeah.
Well, whoever the surgeon was and your doctors, they did a really good job then. Okay, thanks, Demetrios. Nicely done. All right, Olivia, you're up. See, Olivia isn't here. Okay, so we will go to group 3.